Well, Phil, in big games you need big performances. You got that today.
Big performances in big players, and it has to be said, there was a lot of big players out there. I'm so glad that, the competition today was a derby match, because you've got to be on your mettle, you've got to be on your game, A game. You know what you're going to come up against, and when they had, 1,000, 1,500 travelling supporters, it's going to be an atmosphere, it's going to be about bottle at some stage. But I've got to say it, the Worrall Olympic game on Friday, I was so disappointed in our lads because we had so much time on the ball and so much opportunity to do more damage than what we did. And consequently, Worrall ended up giving us a little bit of a fright at 2-1. And yet, the league table suggests that there's a distance between the two teams. Today, there wasn't much of a distance between the two teams, but when the third goal goes in, a good start is important in any game of football, but when you get a good start and you get a goal, and it sort of silences the crowds, it silences the atmosphere to a certain extent from the opposition. The critics have now piped down a wee bit and you can get on with playing football, and that's what we did. I was really, really impressed with both teams, if truth be known, in the first half. I thought for a derby match with a lot of things to go on it, I thought it was a great game of football, I've got to say it. And then the second half, I was crying out for a third, and we got it. And then win at a canter, which is, it wasn't synonymous of the first half. I thought the first half showed us what both teams were capable of doing, certainly in the final third. But if you had said we're going to win today 5-1, and Ashley Emmons wasn't going to score, I'd be like looking at you as if he'd been drinking. But it was the case, 5-1, and Amari Morgan-Smith, I'm absolutely delighted for the skipper. Again, wore his heart on his sleeve, almost brought himself off in the end because he saw Ben Beresford coming off, the armband was coming off, you name it. But he took some stick today and he stood up to it, and he got himself a couple of goals, and I'm absolutely delighted for him. They'll have a nice couple of days rest now, and then Thursday, Friday preparation for one of the biggest games I've been involved in. So I thought this was going to be the biggest game I was involved in, and if it was, I'm delighted. But we've got a game where we've got to go to Southport and win.
Dave Worrall got his first goal for the club and settled the nerves early on. I was right behind it thinking hit it with your left, but he just outside of the foot and curled it round, and that got you off to a great start.
I've been with Dave a few years, and he talked about it, the amount of times I played on right hand side or left hand side at Southend, and I'm not saying he's equally as balanced on his right foot to his left foot, because his right foot's a wand of a cross, shall we say, of a right foot. The left foot, not so reliable. I'm not too sure about that. I think the left foot, he comes back on it and puts it in the same area. But there's different spin on the ball, and consequently it's a more difficult finish to a certain extent. But the finish that he put in, again, a little bit of great movement down the left hand side, and the quality cross comes in, evades the back post man. But Dave had a lot to do. He had a hell of a lot to do. And when it hit the back of the net, I just looked at the crowd behind, watching it go in. It was almost gasping, as almost they were trying to come up for air, because it was a killer blow. What breathed a little bit of life into the Hereford fans with the amazing goal that they scored, and it has to be said, it was the quality of the goals, even at this level, is just absolutely outstanding. But we had 5 and they had 1, and could it have been any more? I'm not going to argue that one. Could it have been closer game? I'm not going to argue that one. The scoreline's 5-1, and in a bottle game, that's a hell of a scoreline. So I've got to take my hat off to the ability to be able to cope with pressure that I was putting on them, and the pressure that the opposition were putting on them. That's down to the individuals that we've got in the change room.
I thought you missed Maz on Friday with that little bit of balance, and as soon as he came back into the side, he just balanced it up, and 2 good goals as well. It's
got to be said, he had a point to prove, because the last time we missed him, you go to Radcliffe and Toby steps up to the plate and grabs a hold of the shirt, and then he's kept a hold of the shirt for 2 or 3 games, maybe even 4. The reason why he kept hold of the shirt, because he scored goals, Hereford away being one of them. So there's been a nice little balance of battle, but it's the camaraderie that you've got in the change room. When you do leave players out, it's difficult as a manager to leave a player out and then leave them out altogether. But I just thought, he had a couple of reasons for I'm going to cut him some slack here. He had a couple of reasons for a poor performance at Worrall. And I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking of a little bit of psychology might play its hand, certainly with an experienced pro. But I had a word with him today, and I think he's a great lad. You know, it has to be said, Toby Obidei, you know, he's been sitting on his backside, sitting on his hands, waiting for his opportunity. When his opportunities come along, he has grabbed it to a certain extent, but he has a wall of goal scorers in front of him. You know, if it's Hemo's position, if it's Maz's position, if it's Amari's position, their consistency levels have been absolutely outstanding. And as I say, he's been biting his nails waiting for his opportunity. I thought at times he has took his opportunity. Today, to say he wasn't even on the bench, it was a hard decision I had to make. But I then now have to look forward to the game, and I thought Maz Kuia was devastatingly outstanding. Much against what Hereford were expecting. Hereford were expecting maybe, I don't know, an average performance, I've no idea, but Maz was outstanding today. He was absolutely caning me, because I brought him off and he'd scored 2 goals. He wants a hat-trick. He hasn't had a league hat-trick, he hasn't had a game hat-trick, so I think I apologise for that afterwards, but I didn't realise he was on 2.
And hopefully 1 game left.
Yeah, it's well put, that great question in a way. Hopefully we turn up in the vein of form that we're in. We've got to prepare properly. It's another game of football. That's all we've been doing over the last 13, 14 games, whatever it is. And it goes back to the Spennymoor game, you know, when we got comprehensively beaten off Spennymoor and never looked back since then. Few home truths were fired at them the following day. And they've stuck, no doubt in my mind. Whatever we said on the Sunday, at 9 o'clock the following day, everybody came into a man and stood up to the plate ever since then. Sometimes home truths are all well and good. They can turn into, you know, could turn into action, you know, it could turn into all sorts of things. But it had to be pointed out, and if it was me that was at fault, I was waiting for it, you know. But nothing came my way. They accepted the finger pointing, as it were. They accepted the blame, and my word, have they grabbed a hold of it. And the response is there for everybody to see. Kidderminster Harriers fans today were nothing short of brilliant. 5,500 at the game, you know. I love filling stadiums, as all managers do. It's a sign that 1, successful, 2, you're playing the right type of football, and 3, you're giving them some hope and a little bit of belief somewhere down the line, and that's what we've done again today. There'll be a few travelling, I should imagine, down up to Southport. I need all my tickets because I've got family up that way as well. But I've said that to you many times. I've got family in South Shields, they're all over the place. But it's we're looking forward to it. You know, we're already putting this one to bed, and we'll address the situation. We've done the Player of the Year presentations, and congratulations to all the winners. Fantastic it is, you know, especially clubmen's and, you know, the people that you don't really see or hear or feel, you know. It's a special thank you to them, you know, to give them something. Everybody sees Ashley Evans week in and week out what he can do, and he's been, you know, justly rewarded. But bottom line is that's out the way now. All we've got to do now is focus on 1 game, and it's away from home. It's Southport. Everybody's welcome. If that 5,500 want to come, I can't say I'll buy everybody a drink. I can't get everybody a ticket, that's for sure. I'd look forward to seeing everybody turn up next weekend.
Okay.
You touched on the fans tonight. That was obviously your first sight on Agborough full. Now you've obviously achieved promotions and managed in much bigger stadiums that have been full. But I mean, you must have got a good buzz and a good energy from that today. It was a different level, wasn't it?
It's the right word, you know, when you say a buzz, an energy level. I honestly think of all these things because I've been a football supporter. You know, I used to get up on a Saturday morning and look forward to Sunderland games. And I used to go in the full end at 1 o'clock and start the atmosphere. You felt as if you were part and parcel of something on the day of the game. And if the team got beat, you felt as if you were responsible. So it was a shared responsibility I'm trying to get to you. And whenever you come through a turnstile, whenever you paid for your ticket, whatever you've done, however you prepare, you come and make some noise, and it's not negative. It's positive. My word, it doesn't have spill on the pitch. And I think it showed from minute 1, Matty. As far as I'm concerned, it made a massive effect. And they're probably single-handedly responsible for 3 or 4 of the goals, just because that moment when Hereford equalised with a worldie, that's when we needed them, when we needed them most. And they realised that at half-time. When we came out at half-time, the noise level was up again. And next thing you know, 3rd, 4th and 5th followed up.